Howdy, friend. Sam Houston here, hoping you're living in high cotton. And if you're lucky enough to be in Texas, I know you're most of the way there. Now enjoy your daily dose of Texas history and Texas pride.
Howdy, friend. Welcome to your Texas History Roundup for August 8th. In 1840, an estimated 400 to 500 Comanche warriors, with women and children, led by Buffalo Hump, stormed the coastal port town of Linville after terrorizing Victoria for 2 days earlier. Local women and children took refuge on boats in the bay and watched as the Indians pillaged and burned the town. Some 300,000 worth of goods were warehoused in Linville, including hats and umbrellas destined for a store in San Antonio. As the Indians ransacked the town afoot and on horseback, many wore hats and carried umbrellas. At least 23 people were killed in the Victoria-Linville raid, and several others were captured. In addition to stealing about 3,000 horses, the Indians torched most of the town. 4 days later, the Indians were overtaken at Plum Creek by Texas Rangers and thoroughly beaten. It was later learned that Mexican guides were among the raiders, and that many of the stolen horses were subsequently trailed to Mexico. Linville was never rebuilt, but the community of Lavaca developed about 2 miles away. The reason for this combined raid on Victoria and Linville was the Council House fight in San Antonio, where Buffalo Hump had been one of the few Comanches to survive. In 1854, Francois X. Aubry, who had become one of the leading frontier merchants, died in a Santa Fe cantina due to a knife wound. Visualizing a lucrative Texas-Chihuahua market, he initiated a route between Chihuahua and the Gulf Coast. On his maiden trip, he left Santa Fe on December 1st, 1849, with empty wagons and traveled by way of El Paso to Victoria. With loaded wagons, he returned to El Paso on April 27, 1850. After delivering his goods to Chihuahua, he returned to Santa Fe in early June, a round trip of over 6 months. Though profitable, the hardships of Indian attacks and weather, he lost 40 mules in a snowstorm, convinced him to make only one more trip. The Aubry Cutoff on the Santa Fe Trail is named for him. In 1888, Samuel Allen died in Harrisburg. After coming to Texas, he established the Allen Ranch in the 1840s. He built his herd largely by rounding up wild longhorn cattle and, at one time, grazed 100,000 cattle and owned about 17,000 acres in Harris County, as well as other pasturage. The ranch survived in the family for over 100 years, and many landmarks in Houston have been named after this family, who are unrelated to the two Allen brothers who founded Houston. In 1915, at dusk, some 50 to 70 Mexican horsemen attacked the headquarters of the Norris Division of the King Ranch, about 70 miles north of Brownsville. When the raiders attacked, 16 ranch and U.S. Army personnel were present. Ranch employee Manuel Flores was killed and 4 others were wounded, while 5 raiders were killed and 12 wounded. The bandits fled into the night and disappeared. A wounded raider later said they had expected only a few cowboys at the ranch and had planned to rob the ranch store, burn the ranch house, and derail and loot the train. As a result of this and earlier raids, the Army increased its presence in the Rio Grande border region, and the raids gradually subsided. In 1970, William L. Willie Shoemaker, who was born in Fabians on September 19, 1931, broke Johnny Longden's horse racing record with win number 6,032 aboard Dares J. At his retirement in 1990, Shoemaker had 8,833 wins. Wow. In 2015, on this day, 48-year-old David Ray Conley broke into his former home in Harris County and held hostage Valerie and Dwayne Jackson Sr., as well as 6 children, including his own 13-year-old son. Over the course of 9 hours, he shot and killed the entire family. This was followed by a standoff with lawmen before he surrendered. He had recently purchased a handgun, ammunition, and 6 pairs of handcuffs. Records indicate he had an extensive criminal record and had been abusive with Valerie, the mother of his son, as well as his recently estranged wife. Because of Conley's mental condition, instead of the death penalty, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Well, that ended on a little downer. But that is your Texas History Roundup for August 8th.
Well, there you have it. If you like our podcast, check us out at feedbandit.com. There you'll find awesome Texas First outdoors gear and apparel. Your purchase helps support the Bandits and keeps this podcast on the air, fighting for you and for Texas. Remember, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Until next time.